Hey, welcome back to Rich Girl Book Club. I'm Jess, the owner of the club, and welcome back to our club, where we are here to get a little bit richer and a little bit smarter. Let's talk about how to get a little bit richer. And to get a little bit richer, we have to know what we're spending and what our monthly money looks like. Our monthly expenses and income and everything in between. So let's take a look at my April budget, what I spent. Was I profitable? How's my cash flow looking? We're going to talk about it all. So let's buckle up and get into my budget right away. Now, first things first, I want to talk about what do I use to budget? Well, I have my own finance tracking template, and I've been using this method for 5 years. I made my own spreadsheet, and I've been using my own spreadsheet and continually adding and refining my spreadsheet for about 5 years. And I actually have a template provided for you guys. So there's going to be a link in the description box to try out my free, yeah, you heard that right, free finance template. It's super easy and straightforward, great starting place, extremely straightforward to use. This is what you need for your monthly budget review. And I'm just really excited to share it with the world. I hope that you love it. I hope you enjoy it. So take a look at the link. And also I will be having a walkthrough of the template. So you can literally sit side by side with me and we can go through the budget template together and show you how to use it. Okay, but that's not this video. This video is about me and my budget and what I did in April. So I'm just opening up my budget for April for 2025 so far. And let's see. So I've updated all my numbers in here already. My income and all my expenses for April. Today is May 2nd, so we have everything in here. Everything is done for the month. So we're gonna take a look at what my expenses looked like for April. This is the best place to start, in my opinion, is your monthly expenses. This is where you have the best chance to make changes and tweaks, right? Most of the time your income isn't changing very often at all if you have a consistent paycheck like I do. I just work a normal corporate job. I'm an analyst, so that doesn't change much. There is a nuance to that this month that I'll talk about a little later. But expenses, this is where you're making decisions daily, weekly, monthly. So this is where we need to spend most of our time. Okay, so let's take a look at April. Right off the bat, we are seeing there's some red. There is some red in our variances, which means I was over budget. Let's see where I was over budget. Okay, so I'm gonna scroll down so I can see the whole summary for the month. So we're focusing on this left side here. This is my monthly budget categories, what I actually spent, the budgeted amount, and the difference in how much I spent of my budget. And then this whole category to the right is a line item detail, like every transaction. As you can see, it's kind of funky to look at. So let's focus on this summary and go through each one and talk about what happened or didn't happen. So first off, automotive. This is my car category, and this is all things transportation related, parking, Ubers, anything like that. I even have like the bus under the description. I haven't taken a bus in years. But if I do, it's gonna go in this category. So first things first, my budget is $100 for this category, and I spent $129. Now my hunch for this is simply that I got gas a little bit more often, did a bit more driving this month. Not really any long drives or anything, but I was definitely driving a bit more back and forth between the studio and things like that. So I think this is really just like getting gas an extra time really just pushed me over the budget. So I'm okay with that, not a big deal. Our next category here is bills and utilities. So bills and utilities is one of my fixed monthly expenses. So not much to say here. Technically $14 over. So what this category includes is all my subscriptions, you know, Spotify, Apple storage, those kinds of things, Netflix, flat fee, things like that. But this also includes my actual utilities, which do change every month. So water, electricity, sewer, there's like one more in there, but those ones fluctuate slightly month to month. So $14 over my $125 budget. I'm fine with that. These are non-controllable expenses except for the subscriptions, and I'm fine with my subscriptions right now. The only one I might cancel is Netflix eventually, but I'm going to wait until after the Summer I Turn Pretty comes out in July. So we'll reevaluate Netflix later. Okay, next up, coffee. Coffee, another place that was under budget. So this one is definitely over budget by a lot. I have a $50 budget here. Coffee is a crazy one. I feel like I'm over budget on this one a lot, and I just can't convince myself to increase the budget. Not really sure why. So maybe I'll bump that up to $75 or something like that. But yeah, being twice over my budget, this is because I bought coffee for my sister and my mom a couple times, but then also I'm pretty sure this month I restocked on Nespresso pods, because if I really think about it, I didn't get coffee out that much, but I definitely restocked on coffee pods for my Nespresso. So that was probably like $50 of this is my at-home coffee. So I think we're gonna be okay with this one, and it should balance out in May is what I would think will happen. Okay, drink alcohol. I have no idea how I spent $47 on alcohol this month, considering I had 2 drinks total the whole month. Okay, and I think those are not even being captured here. So let's see, what is actually under drink? So this is why I like to have the details to the right, because then I can scroll through and I can see what is rolling up to drink. Okay, here it is. So, oh, that's right. I went to a concert and I got an $18 drink at the concert. Okay, so maybe my 2 drinks that I have this month were really expensive because, oh, this is actually wrong. So here's another thing. I've categorized this one line item to be drink and roll up to alcohol, but this was actually entirely a food purchase. So this needs to be recategorized, and we will do that in a second. I just want to see if there's anything else that rolled up to that. Okay, so those were the only 2 line items. So what I'm going to do is go to where my expense tab is. I keep all my expenses on one flowing tab, and I just keep adding to it throughout the year. And it gets really, really long because we make a lot of transactions and purchases, but I have it all together on one tab, and this is where I categorize everything. So I can just go in here and find that expense, Coughlin's Law, and I'm going to change that to food. And then when I go back over to April's budget, we'll see right here it updated to food and it got moved. So now when we go to our drink category, I just have that $18 drink in that category. So I'm happy with that. Okay, let's keep moving on. Entertainment, technically 0. I did go to a concert this month, but the concert tickets were purchased, I want to say in February, so nothing rolled up here. So that's a free $50 to spread around something else, which clearly I needed. And we can go on to food. So food is all things restaurant. I used to categorize this differently, but just having one restaurant roll up seems to be the best for me, and having it be at like $200. I was over this month. I think simply this month I was just having more dinners out. Basically, that's all I did socially this month was like go to dinner with Nick. So I think that's why that kind of added up to be a bit over budget, is just going out to restaurants. And I think we had one meal that was a bit pricey, if I remember correctly. Yeah, Candado's was a little pricey for some reason. And like I said, I just moved my one purchase in there. But actually nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy here. I think this one just kind of added up. So this is definitely going to be a watch item for May, is restaurant spending. Okay, next up, gifts and donations, $0 here. Yeah, no gifts or donations this month. Groceries, oh, groceries, okay. Yeah, you see that too. You see it. I was way, I almost spent $600 at the grocery store this month. That's a lot. I want to say that I stocked up on a lot of stuff, but I really didn't. Like, I need groceries right now. I do not feel stocked up. I feel like I have no food. I think I had a repurchase for my protein powder, which is like kind of expensive, and I was buying a lot of food items for my race training, so for the half marathon, which is this weekend. So I won't be purchasing any of that anymore, just including those like one-off snacks and things like that. So, oh, grocery is really up there. This one used to be a big category until I became a fitness instructor, and I actually have a free membership to my fitness studio, but I do have a Planet Fitness membership that should be rolling up here, which is just $15. So I think that $15 that's in bills and utilities, I want to put down in health. So this is me making a decision to move something from one category to another. This used to be called lifestyle for me. This is anything from Target, basically. Anything from Target that's like a personal care item, makeup, skincare, really anything like that. Most other, just like anything that's like for me. Besides clothing and shoes, that is actually the shopping category. So between these two, under budget for both personal care and shopping, I'm pretty content with that. Personal care, $50 budget, it was right on it. I'm totally fine with that. Shopping, I actually don't even remember what clothing I bought this year. So this month, let's see what clothing and shoes I bought in April. Okay, so let's scroll down over here. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Oh, a reimbursement on shopping. Okay, so not that. Ooh, that's right. I will actually be returning one of these. So I got a swimsuit from TikTok Shop that was only $13. Wow. And then this sundress was $14 that I actually just tried on this sundress today, and I think I'm gonna return it. It's cute, but it's just not quite right, so I feel like I'm not going to end up wearing it unless it's literally the 4th of July, like a very specific occasion, which is fine. I'm okay doing that for $14, but I feel like I'm just still not going to wear it, so I think I'm going to return it, long story short. But this is a good reminder to look over my budget and say, oh yeah, that is something I wanted to return. Oh, I put a book that I purchased under shopping. Yeah, this is where it's like hard to have all these categories, because it's like, where does a book fall under? Is that personal or is that shopping? I think I'm going to keep it under shopping for now. And I bought Emily Henry's new book. I was not expecting to do this, but I was at Barnes & Noble when I saw it, and it had just come out like 2 days before, and I'm currently reading it right now. So definitely super happy about that. I really don't buy a lot of books at all for how much I read, so every so often buying a book that is beautiful, I'm okay with that. So, okay, a book and a couple items that I'm going to return. Oh, I also got 2 pairs of sunglasses that are kind of ugly, but ugly in like a fashion way. So I think I'll also be keeping those. Okay, cool. Moving on, I have a pet category, which I definitely bought food for my dog that should be rolling up here. Is he still back there? Is the dog back there? Speaking of pet, so I definitely bought food for Henry this month, so I don't know why this is 0, probably because that rolled up to grocery. So that's another reason grocery is up. $40 should be moved down here, so I'll probably go make that adjustment so it's a bit more accurate. And then, let's see, we talked about shopping. So rent, that is a flat rate every month. Is about $9.75. So that one's a gimme every month. Maybe I should make the budget exactly what it is. Look how vulnerable I am telling you guys my rent payment. Ooh. And the only other one that I skipped over was other. So let's see what was rolling up in the other category. Okay, so a couple things rolled up here that were for travel expenses for a work trip that I ended up getting reimbursed for. So yeah, this other, mostly reimbursed. I kind of had a bougie dinner at the airport and I went over my spending limit, so I was not able to reimburse the entire meal, but let's see, there's my reimbursement. It is in here. So what I like to do for something like that is put in the expenses just so I can still track them, but then have a line in here that is the reimbursement so that it cancels each other out. So as you can see, it's a positive number, and it'll cumulatively be canceled out. See if there's any others. Okay, so I did buy printer ink for my parents' printer at their house because I used it all doing taxes. Ugh, taxes. I shiver thinking about it. We'll get to that because I did pay my taxes in April. But just doing a quick check for any others. Okay, so it was really just like the printer ink and a little bit extra on that. Totally fine with that. Which leaves us to my actual spend was just under $2,400. My budget is right over $2,200, leaving us with $173 overspend. Okay. And that, it says 108%. That's technically, I spent 8% over budget. So nothing crazy, but definitely a couple places to improve. Really, the grocery line item is absurd, and I have no other words for that. Is that it's absurd. So spending a lot more at the grocery store than usual. I mean, that's one of the things from inflation that has gone up. Okay, so what do you do when you notice that you've gone over budget? Well, I have one more breakdown here is our variable versus fixed expenses. So just to really take a look at it, my fixed expenses, I was actually the teeniest bit under, and the overage was all from my variable expenses, which sounds about right. That makes sense to me. It's usually going to be in those variable categories that change month to month. But overall, there wasn't any spending that I, regret. I don't regret any of this spending at all. I think this is all really reasonable, and I'm happy with it. So, okay. Well, this is our spending for the month. What else do we need to know? We want to take a look at how that compares to what we made in April. Now, for this one, I did get a bonus payout in April. When you get a bonus payment, you get to do whatever you want with it. First thing I would encourage in general is paying down any debt payments that you have. Some people really like to lean into it and have it as a treat, as a moment to splurge. I like to just kind of push it through the wash and just use it as a little bonus. Additionally, I am starting to have wedding expenses for my wedding that's next year. So basically, if it's like, oh, what did you do with your bonus? I would say it's going toward the wedding, which I'm very, very happy with. So that's the context that I want to give for my income. So basically, even though I overspent, I was still really profitable this month, but not as profitable as you would think. So I'm not going to specifically share exactly what I profited, but I want to show you guys one more thing, is our annual expenses. When I have expenses come through, I like to determine if they're monthly or annual, okay? Most things are monthly. The things that become annual is if it's like a one-time payment over a couple months of whatever the payment is for. So for example, in January, my car insurance hits and it's for 6 months. So instead of putting it all on January, I throw it into the annual bucket. This bucket is also for big expenses that I've saved for. This is where my Christmas budget is. This is where basically anything that's really out of the monthly norm. Specifically travel. So this is where a lot of my travel rolls up to as well, which I do know travel, so it's not a lot right now. But I like to track all of that separately, but then also kind of bridge it back to whatever month it happens in. Okay, welcome to my annual spending tab. So right now I've filtered it on just the April annual spends because we're focusing on April, and there were kind of quite a few here that added up. So let's take a little look-see here. So dog. I had a vet visit for my dog, so this is something that I like to put under annual, $142, and that was in April. Now, taxes, I owed on my taxes this year because of something that happened last year. That sounds really conspicuous, but there was something that I chose to not take taxes out on, so I paid them this year, and I knew that was going to happen. So I knew I was going to owe on taxes this year, and that was paid in April. So those were two big annual expenses that did physically come out of my account in April, but wouldn't count them on April's budget. So when I look at my budget, we're going to have my April income. We're going to have the monthly expenses, and we're going to get a number after that, which is like my accounting profit for April. Then we're going to take out the annual expenses, which is right around $900. And then after that is going to give us our cash flow. The reason I'm not showing all that is because I don't want to show my income yet, especially because it's weird this month, so I don't want you to think that it's weird or something. But I will tell you that even with the tax payment, because I got the bonus infusion, I did profit like $2,000 plus this month. And that is high for me. That's really high for cash flow. That's cash flow, by the way. So that is everything adjusted out that physically happened in April. If I was a business and I started at zero and I brought X income and that amount of expenses came out of my accounts, $2,000 is the number that we're going to be left with. And yeah, so what do I do with that information? Basically nothing. I keep living my life. I do pay a bit more attention when it's a negative, but what I like to do is adjust my budgets month to month depending on what's happening. And then I also like to look at it cumulatively. So I'll look over the first 4 months of the year and add up all the cash flows, and if it's still positive, then I'm good. If it's negative, that basically just indicates like you probably have to move money from your savings to your checking just to make sure everything, operates efficiently and there's enough money there to cover everything, if that makes sense. So that's really the only information I do with that is, do we have to move anything around? If not, we profited. That's great. We love that. I don't necessarily do anything specific with that money. It is a larger amount though, so maybe typically what I would do is make a decision if that's going to be additional investments, if it's going to be, an extra movement into my high yield savings account or something like that. This could be like, I'm going to make an extra debt payment, something like that. So I think those are really great decisions to make. And now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, I think what I'm going to do is maybe move half of that into my savings account to have it in there. The reason I'm not moving like all of it is because I just know in upcoming months I'm going to have like additional expenses going through my like checking account, if that makes sense. And I'm going to need money in there anyways. So it doesn't help to move the money if I'm just going to be moving it back pretty soon, if that makes sense. Like, it's just like, let's not move it back and forth for like pennies. Okay, so the last part of my budgeting is to look at my net worth tracking, but I'm going to save that for a different video. I also haven't pulled those numbers yet. I'm a little behind on it, but basically I go to all my accounts, all my savings, all my checking, all my retirement accounts, all my brokerage, high yield savings accounts, all the accounts, and like any debt or anything too, right? Because your net worth is all your assets and all your liabilities. I get all of those account numbers and values, and I try to take a snapshot in time if I can. Like, I'll pull them all today and say that's like end of April, like close enough. So I want to do that too, and that just helps me track my net worth, and it's very motivating. And I do have a net worth goal, but it's not like my highest priority this year because I'm very comfortable with where it's at and where it's going. We're really just chilling with it, if that makes sense. So that would be my last piece, is to take a look at my net worth tracking and see how I'm doing there. That's going to be it for this video. Take a look in the description box for my finance tracker. You will see that the template is there, ready to be downloaded, ready to be used. It's super easy, would highly recommend. And let me know if you have any questions on this video or any other video that I have about budgeting. Let me know if you had a profitable April or not in the comments. And then also please subscribe to join the Rich Girl Book Club, because you want to be rich, right? You just watched this video, so I think you want to be rich. And we're here to do it together, so you have to subscribe to stay along the way. I don't make the rules. So hope you guys like this video. Please join the club, and I'll see you next time. Bye.